Welcome back. Excited to be here. Hope you all are doing amazing. It's Margot Master, your Heartfelt CFO. I am super excited for today's presentation and to talk to you further about another topic. And it was really bothering me how, it wasn't necessarily bothering me, it was really speaking to me how a lot of my clients, they always say how the calls is basically what they value and the work is like the bonus. And obviously, you need the work, you need bookkeeping, you need all of the things. But time after time, clients would always say that the calls was the way of like really making movement. It wasn't necessarily just about accountability. It was more about like the feedback flow and all of the different things that will happen around it. So what I did was I started to listen more in terms of like where that was going for me. And I'm going to talk about that today in what I prepared in terms of the presentation of why does your real estate business feel reactive even with bookkeeping and CPA help? If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you've been here, welcome back. So excited to have you. If you are listening on the replay, amen to you. Thank you so much. If you are here live, hello. Thank you for listening. Keep on. Let us know your comments. We always like the emojis, the DMs around these things to help us make sure that we are serving you in the most way. This is a little bit about me and why you should listen to me and know about where I'm going in the real estate industry with really creating the most cutting edge business accounting, CFO, and tax solutions in the industry around money, business, and tax, and all of the in between. And I not only just enjoy helping business owners in the real estate space, my main thing is that I'm here for is to replace uncertainty with clarity and make confident decisions, help you make confident decisions. I was on a call last week with a client and he was coming in with like all of the things, multiple entities, wanting to hire, finishing a degree. And what I slowed him down to say was where he was missing steps. And when he started to realize where he was missing the steps, he was like, he started to see the flow of how things were moving and working for him than necessarily against him. So when he came on also, and a lot of our clients, almost all our clients, when they come on, real estate businesses, they have the bookkeeping, the reports, like all of the things, but financially still feeling reactive. And I still feel like this sometimes on clients where they're telling it to me, where they're like, I feel like I'm still like in catch up mode brain, or I'm still working off of the idea of what used to happen, and not really realizing that I'm in real time. And the reality is, everything feels manageable, but somehow with growth, with transactions and all of the things, eventually it gets harder to maintain. So, really, what does that mean, harder to maintain? It's harder to see what's going on from each entity individually. But then when it comes tax time, it's really your only shot to see everything as a whole. So when I start to work with clients, what happens is that they're trying to connect the dots all year. And then tax time, they're like, oh my God, can you put together the puzzle? Like, can you put together these pieces already? Like, what's happening? How is this working? Shouldn't tax law do this, that, and the other thing? Now, how cool would it be if you were able to understand this all year and to see it live in your life? So what most people assume, if the books are done, right? They're like, okay, everything is good. But somehow there's this voice that something is still unclear. Let's get clear. What does bookkeeping actually do? It organizes transactions, it reconciles accounts, it prepares reports, supports tax filing. The work matters deeply, but historically, it only tells you what already happened. It doesn't solve operational pressure, coordination, tax exposure, ongoing decision, strategy, decisions, the architecture of this. How is this actually happening? So let's also get clear. What does the CPA actually do? The most common answer around my services if people don't want to sign on is like, oh, I have a CPA. But what does he actually do? Right? Do you actually know what's in your agreement? Now, lots of times CPA does multiple things, but the most formal, the most common agreement is compliance, filings, and really just tax preparation. And the role is critical, but the main decision is often built throughout the year with all the decisions. So, what's the actual problem? The actual problem is it's not bookkeeping, it's the visibility and oversight problem on a regular basis. Now, what would change if you had the visibility on a regular basis? So now here we are when we're recording this tape. It's May 12th, 2026. Now, let's assume for the minute you already did 2025. So you had your visibility for 2025, but you probably don't even know where you are for this year. How cool would it be if you understand your situation on a regular basis so that you could decide increase, decrease, keep the same? Right? It's like, I want a little bit more of that. I want a little bit more of this. You see, I have multiple entities myself. And my house in New York, my tenant is supposed to move out in August. Now, I know in August, my work is cut out for me when she moves in, when she moves out. And the whole gamut, right, around her moving out. Hopefully she moves out on time. Hopefully my house is not a wreck and the repairs is not extraordinary. Yes, you have to have the walkthrough and all of the things. Can you get back onto the market, right? So I know what my seasons are like, but I also know what my tax firm does to be able to go spend more time in my house to make sure to get it rented or get it sold. I don't know what I'm going to do. So when you have different things going on, right, it's like, how does this work or doesn't work? So real estate businesses, where do you feel the intensement? Multiple entities? I know I do with multiple entities. I'm like, oh, what am I doing today? What am I doing tomorrow? And I'll be honest with you, this past week, I actually asked my assistant to actually some of the common tasks that used to be easy for me to make sure to label time appropriately, which is according to my 9 foundations, to make sure that I do them earlier in the day. They used to be no-brainers for me, and it's not that it's no-brainers, but what happened is that over time, other things become priority, and then it becomes harder to do. It's like what's right in front of your face. So when it comes to these different entities, right, even I have this sometimes, overlapping decisions, investor relationship, reporting seems fragmented, moving cash flow, and all of these things feel intense. So what is the dang missing layer? Ongoing management during the year. I'll be honest with you. I go to my tax side of my business for the management because I want the extra view on my stuff. I know a lot of the decisions before I ask for the help, but at the same time, I like the feedback because when I hear the feedback, I hear somebody else that's not me who's doing it and saying what they're saying. Now, our tax department is phenomenal. And I say that because just the solutions that they come up with like is just insane, especially for our real estate professionals. We're really moving the needle with tax. And what does it really look like when you have good financial management? Visibility, identifying pressures, coordinating across entities, proactively reviewing, understanding the cash flow, supporting decisions before outcomes are locked in. So let's say you want to hire somebody. Let's say you want to decide if a partner is good. How do you know those things? Do you do it just based on a gut feeling or because the person is nice? Maybe they're wearing a nice suit. Maybe she's wearing like a nice blouse or a nice top, right? How do you make those decisions? And that's exactly what this is about, is what does real financial management look like for you? Now, you could either use this slide or take it to a degree on how it speaks to you to really know what your process needs to be. So what's the bigger framework? The shift. The goal is not more reporting, it's stronger financial visibility. And I want to go through the 4 stages. Now, before I go through the first stages, I must say I am super, super excited to share this, that I went over my past I don't know, a good 5 years where I've like did a little bit of this, a little bit of that of different clients, where I've analyzed of how we were working with clients, how they were responding, their emails and different things, the report, and I came up with the 4 stages. So here we go. We talked about it in the last live, and I'm going to keep talking about it in every live because it's just perfect. It's just so good. So clarity, structure, strategy, and expansion. Let's dig in. Clarity, can you trust your numbers? Structure is this a financial support team growth, system supporting growth. So what exactly does that mean? Could the system support where you're going? I had a client call me yesterday that he was like, oh, Margo, like if we get this contract, he goes, everyone's job is going up like 80%. And I was like, then your structure needs to go up like 150%. Strategy, are the numbers guiding decisions? Can growth happen without operational chaos? What stage are you in? Now, if you're listening to this, tell me what stage that you're in. 1, 2, 3, or 4. You might be all over the place. Most people are. Self-assessment. I want you to run through these questions and see where you're at. And if you're even more courageous, if you're listening to this on the replay or if you're on live, put your questions below. Put your answers below too. Do you trust your numbers? Can you see clearly what's going on? Is tax planning happening? Or you're like, oh shit, they want a big fee. I'm not paying that. I'm paying them to take care of my taxes when I know I owe money, but it's supposed to be flip the script. You're not supposed to owe money. Any no is the visibility to gap. And take each one of these seriously, okay? And really take the time to reflect. Now, I want to invite you to a few different ways to move forward. And this is like really, really awesome that we can do it this way. And I have seen people already step in from our previous lives, and I want to continue to encourage and talk about each one in a different way. If you are here, you're not sure, and this resonated with you, and then you're like, I want to do something, I'm not sure, start with the assessment. If you're ready to go all in and you already have questions, set up the direct clarity. And this is more of a working session. If you're still like in a real exploratory phase, let's get into the quick conversation and we'll diagnose where you're at and help you move through our process so that going back into the 4 stages, we can see where you're at. Now, a lot of people are already in expansion and 1, 2, and 3 needs work. So what happens is that there's pre-phases to make sure that 1, 2, and 3 are strong if you're in expansion. You may be in clarity, you may be in structure, wherever you are. But where I want to encourage you is that moving forward in some degree is really the answer, and just choose one step. Because making the next best decision is always about taking a step and seeing where you're at. And I'll tell you this, you know, when I bought my second house in December, and it was really different than being like a shareholder owner in a property. The second house really hit me. And I didn't notice it until like a few months later, like the load of it all. Another set of bills, being a landlord, and all of these things. If I didn't have my current architecture and my structure to be able to offload a lot of the work and keep up and be able to see the finances for what they are to even be in this spot, I would not be able to do majority of the things that I do, take on clients, all of the projects and all of the things. And hence where our systems have been more and more clear after looking at different clients. I would say probably I tapped into anywhere from 25 to 75 different clients of projects to where I was able to do this to give you the quicker road to success and have this. So really excited for this. I cannot wait to see you on the next call and choosing one of these options. Our lives are weekly, Tuesday and Thursday. Stay tuned for the topic. As always, any questions, let me know. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you for listening. And I cannot wait to see your feedback.